Muslim Americans are more optimistic about their future than any other religious group in the US, according to a new poll. But they are more likely to say they recently experienced discrimination. The Abu Dhabi Gallup Center poll was conducted in the spring and autumn of 2010. Other findings include 64% of American Muslims felt their standard of living was getting better. 93% of Muslim Americans say that their community is loyal to the United States, and 80% approve of President Obama's job performance, more than any other major religious group. Earlier, I spoke to Wajahat Ali. He's a Muslim American attorney, essayist, and playwright. I asked him, though, that given that so much had happened, both economically and socially, since last year, whether he thought these figures were still representative.
I think there's a moment of uncertainty here that's affecting all Americans, specifically when it comes to the economic recession, which is the worst since the Great Depression. And also, we still live in the shadows of 9/11, which has colored a lot about how we talk about Muslims and how we talk about national security. And also, we're dealing with some foreign policy initiatives that's happening in Iraq. We're dealing with Pakistan, and we're dealing with Afghanistan. So it's not perfect. But I think this is very encouraging for other American communities to know that their fellow neighbors and partners, Muslims, are, number one, hopeful that things will get better despite the horrible situation that we are in, or the volatile situation that we're in right now. And number two, that despite what's been happening from a national security angle, there's still a tremendous sense of loyalty to America felt by Muslim Americans.
Right,
and I think this is a very encouraging trend.
Clearly some Republican candidates for president think that this is quite a rich vein to mine, actually, Islamophobia. Some of them are being pretty outspoken. And surely there's got to be a fear as a sort of social spending bites that has now been passed into law, that actually the Muslims might become a target. Isn't there some historical precedent for that, for minorities to start getting targeted?
No, exactly, and that's what's disconcerting to so many Muslim Americans, and I think many of our allies and fellow Americans, that this moment of uncertainty, this moment of fear is being exploited by politicians and certain individuals for profit and self-gain. And you've seen that Muslims have become the boogeyman in America for some people, especially when it comes to the 2012 Republican presidential candidates. Individuals like Herman Cain and Newt Gingrich and Michelle Bachmann are essentially doing what I call a remake. This story is a remake. In the past, it was gays and lesbians. In the past, it was Irish Catholics. In the past, it was Jews. In the past, it was Japanese Americans. And right now, people are exploiting the ignorance, I think, that most people have about Muslim Americans for sake of short-term political gain. But it's going to backfire.
So we have that on the Republican side, and then we have a president who's not only intensified some of the national security policies abroad of the previous administration, but is actually intensifying a lot of them at home as well. I'm struggling to find the optimism, not to mention the economy and everything else.
I mean, the situation is a lot of Muslim Americans feel like, we're, instead of being seen as partners and neighbors, we're seen as suspects. And I think that's one of the main problems that has emerged after 9/11. A lot of Muslim Americans say, why do people see us as a threat? Why do people see us as suspects? But there were also problems within the Muslim American community in the sense that we didn't reach out and tell our story. And now there is an engaged, I would say, more progressive, more proactive community of Muslim Americans that is saying, we need to reach out and tell our story. We need to get engaged with the media. We need to get engaged with the government, and we need to reach our hand out. And we hope that it's reciprocated.
Wajahat Ali.